Hello students, this is Veena, Assistant Professor in the Department of English, Institute of Aeronautical Engineering. Today we are going to talk about the techniques of reading skills. In my last video, I have already explained you the two important techniques of reading skills, that is skimming and scanning. Today we will talk about rest of the two techniques, that is intensive reading skills and extensive reading skills. Before we get into details of those, let us just have a quick revision of what is reading skills, what are the techniques of reading skills, what is skimming, what is scanning, and other two techniques. Let us get started. Now, what is reading skill? Reading skills is nothing but decoding the meaning from the text, understanding the text, and also making or knowing the meaning of the text for that particular entity and analyzing it and further interpreting it. So, reading not only just help us in developing the fluency, in developing the accent of the communication, but also helps you in expanding your knowledge, in expanding extensive knowledge about the events, current affairs, moving and going around yourself. Now, let us talk in detail about the two important techniques which are very, very important and which have already made a mark in making the reading skills efficient. Now, before that, reading skills not only develop your communication but also helps in expanding your writing skills as well as your speaking skills. Therefore, in the way of communication, reading skills will help you in developing your comprehension, your fluency, and also adds good vocabulary to your day-to-day communication such that you will stand in a very, very good place among the group, among the peer group when the presentations are given. Then, strategies that help readers interpret and find the meaning of text. Extensive reading, vast reading, the habit of reading books, the habit of reading newspapers, all this will help you in developing and also learning many kind of strategies and also help you in knowing the experiences of many other people around you and also help you in practicing good communication skills while talking and also while communicating to all the other people in your professional environment. So therefore, reading skills help you in developing your comprehension, fluency, vocabulary, and also develops all kind of strategies which are needed for your enhancement and development of the communication skills. Now, 4 different types of reading techniques. What are those? First one, skimming. Skimming is referred to just reading. In my last video, I have already explained you about what is skimming in detail. Let me give a brief note now. Skimming is reading the text and gathering the gist of the text. That is, we are going to read first 2 lines of the text and gather the information about the main points of that text and form a gist over that subject. You will be going through the text in a fast pace, in a very fast pace, in a quick manner, but reading the first 2 sentences, a few lines here and there in between, and also the concluding paragraphs of the text. This is the process of skimming, which helps you to form a gist of the content of whatever you are reading when you have less time, when you don't have much time, when you have to prepare for your presentations, when you have to prepare a speech, any such thing, you are going to skim your text to get gist of that particular reading entity and from a conclusion about that text. That is what is your skimming. Yes. Now comes scanning. Scanning is nothing but you are going to get a phrase, you are going to select a phrase which is very, very important to get the information, and you will be looking forward in that particular text about the scanning. That is, you will choose a word and you will try to find the information of that particular word in the text. Quickly scanning something. Like you will scan a dictionary, like you will scan a telephone directory. So, therefore, scanning is also a fast reading technique which will help you to scan within a very few minutes. The only process of scanning is you will move your eyes very quickly and also select a phrase which will suits the text for that word. Then you will grasp the information about it. That is what is scanning. So, scanning, skimming, both are the fast reading techniques which will help you in giving you all the information, whatever is needed on time in a very fast pace. Now, we will go in detail with the intensive reading technique. What is intensive reading? The word intensive itself is representing that we are going to study intensively, in-depthly. That means here intensive reading helps you in knowing, understanding and doing well reading of each and every word as well as each and every sentence of the selected text. That means you will surely take some time, go step by step, read every word, understand the meaning of each word and know the information from that text. That is called intensive reading. Now here see, it involves close reading that aims at the accuracy of comprehension. So, you are going to do close reading, very, very close, in-depth reading of the comprehension. That means of the understanding element of the particular text. So, such that you can form the accuracy over the comprehension, the flow over the comprehension of that particular text. Next, extensive reading. What is the difference between the intensive and extensive? Intensive is we are reading it very closely, going step by step, understanding each word from the text and also forming proper knowledge about the words and the sentences which are mentioned in the text. Now, what is extensive reading? Extensive reading is nothing but not you are confining yourself to some particular text. If you have some language, if you have some syllabus regarding English topic or any other topic, you are reading only your academic books. That is just you are confining yourself to read only those two books. But when you come out of that box and try to choose some other books on the same topic and you are doing the extensive reading. That means you are moving out of the box, out of the line and trying to learn and explore more around you and grasping the information from all the surroundings and making yourself more knowledgeable, more understandable about the particular content or the things which you are aspiring for. So, intensive reading is a close reading, extensive reading is the reading which is done in a very vast place, in a very broader sense. Next, now we will talk about intensive reading in more detail. Intensive reading involves learner reading in detail with specific learner aims and tasks. Aim is your goal to attain the proper information which you are aspiring for. For example, if you are reading a poem, your main sole aim is to understand the flow of the poem, the nature of the poem, the content of the poem, and also the grammatical sense, the rhythm, the rhyme scheme, the structure of the poem framed. So your sole aim and the purpose of reading that particular poem must be attained. That can be done through the intensive reading of that poem. Reading each line one by one. Each word is understood and the rhyme scheme must be understood there. Therefore, you will try to do intensive reading when you are reading a poem. Not only that, if you are reading a text, if you are reading an article, if you are reading a journal, if you really intend to have some information in particular with a sole aim to understand all the events moving around it, you will be doing the intensive reading. And this is the most important thing which will be helpful to you in your project works. Of course, because your project work needs lot of details, much details, and you are going to explain them in more details. So, you have to take the role of reading intensively and then use it for the sake of your gathering information. Next, the meaning of intensive reading is to read with full concentration and complete focus. You have to have all the concentration and also you must focus on the points whatever are very necessary for you to read and attain. So, intensive reading needs lot of attention, lot of patience and lot of focus. Then only you will be able to do intensive reading in a very good pace. Then, intensive reading is one of the most critical skills. Why? Why is it called a critical skill? Because it needs lots of patience, lots of practice and lots of attention. Once you are having all these qualities in you, you will be excelling in this technique of reading. Critical skill. That means you are not just simply reading it for reading's sake. You are here to understand each and every element which is addressed in that particular text, and also you are going to give your suggestion or opinion on whatever you are read. So, to give suggestion or to frame opinion of something more important, you have to do intensive reading. Because if you are giving wrong suggestions or wrong information about something, then you have to be very careful. So, you have to do intensive reading with all the attention, all the focus and all the concentration on the topic or on the element, whatever you are talking about. Then, reading extensively will help you tackle complex texts. That means, if you are simply reading a text but you are unable to understand it, it will be in a complex form. So, once a text is in complex form, that which is very typical to understand, you have to make very, very important procedure to understand that text. You have to plan it out to understand that text or to put forward the points from that text. How to handle that text and make notes from it is your target now. So, the complex forms of text can be read through the intensive reading. You have to go in depth of that structure or that content so that you will gain all the relevant important points which are very, very useful for your study. So this technique, intensive reading skill, will surely help you out in making you grasping lot of knowledge and information. Though there is a small text, if you are doing intensive reading, when you go into the depths of that reading, you will have vast knowledge or vast exposure to that particular text. Here we are not talking that you have to read pages and pages and pages. No, intensive reading, though you are having 1 page or 2 page, it will help you in developing more information through its text and through its information or the impact which is going to create by making you sensible in understanding the meaning of that text. So, in that way, intensive reading will help you in many ways. Now, here are some ways to develop the habit of intensive reading. We are having some ways where you can develop intensive reading. First way is taking notes. How do you do this intensive reading? How can you excel in this reading? First point, which is very, very important for you to develop intensive reading, is taking notes. When you are reading something, try to take notes from it and start writing. When you are taking notes, your sense of explanation, your sense of understanding, your sense of noting the meaning of that particular word at that time will be very helpful. So, taking down notes is the most effective form to develop your intensive reading. Next, try to jot down notes and ideas in the margins. That means you will try to jot down step by step, one by one, the important notes in each paragraph and also the meaning of the words of each line. Then, add sticky notes with questions. Now, how to develop your knowledge, how to go into the depth of that content. The only option is you will frame questions of the doubts which are developed within you. While reading a text, you will be having some questions. Why does this happen here? What is the use of it? Why did the poet mention about this content or this person here in this perspective? So many doubts will be aroused when you are reading some particular text. So, jot down, write it down. Try to note down your doubts with the question, whatever is aroused in your brain. So, such that you can explore the depth of that particular content instantly at that particular point. Through that question, you can get into the roots of that text and understand the problem there and gain the information from it. Next, not only will you be able to keep track, but it will also give you something to focus. So, taking down notes will help you to focus on the content, to understand the content, to go into the depths of the content and also answer the questions of your doubts. So, therefore, this is one form, that is taking notes, which will help you in developing good intensive reading skill techniques. Next one, break down the reading process. What is that breaking down the reading process? Intensive reading helps you in making calm and composed, not only calm and composed, but also it helps you in showing path while developing your knowledge of vocabulary, meaning, and as well as generating the vast knowledge around you. For that, you should not go on continuously reading the page by page. No. Give a pause at some extent and try to reread it or try to understand the elements and Try to sort it out. Intensive reading, do not recommend lot of vast, extensive reading element into it. It suggests you, though you are reading a small text or a small note, you are reading it in depth, understanding the nature, understanding the structure, understanding the syntax, and understanding the meaning of that particular sentence. So there is a process to break down. What is the process of breaking down the text? One is pre-reading. You have selected a topic. Okay. Now, don't just directly go read the book. When you want to read a book, you will first see the review of the book, isn't it? We don't directly read the book, open the book just knowingly or unknowingly, not picking up a book and reading. That will not happen. What do you do? If somebody suggests you to read a book, you first read the foreword. You try to understand what is the content in it, and you try to understand, is that content helpful to me? Reading that book will really help me or not, isn't it? So, first do pre-reading of that book. That is, the first step is preparation. Prepare yourself. Get ready about what is that you are going to do. How is that you are going to start with that particular entity of reading the text? Whatever the text may be, if you are starting to read a fiction, if you are starting to read a drama, if you are starting to read a poem, have the pre-preparation such that it will not confuse you. It will make you stand in the right position and shows the path towards the true nature of that text. Next comes reading. After pre-reading, start reading. Reading the actual process. Start reading the content, decoding the meaning of the text, understanding the meaning of the text, and gaining the information whatever is needed. After reading, what you are going to do is post-reading. That is, after finishing your reading, you are not just stopping yourself there. Try to summarize what you have read. Try to make some information or try to make some gist of that particular text after you finish the actual reading, and try to match it with the actual reading of the text, whether you have understood it properly, rightly, as suggested by the writer, yes or no. Is it really useful to me in the way I expected it to be? Is that catering my objective to attain some information from it, to gather some vocabulary from it, or to understand the text structures from it? So, these are all the things which will be sorted out through intensive reading with this procedure of breaking down. That means not just continuously reading one page by page. No, give a breakdown. Try to do pre-reading, then do actual reading, then do the post-reading activity. In that way, in your intensive reading ability will be growing. Next come, apply what you have learnt. I always suggest all the students of English language, especially engineering students, apply what you have learnt. In case of your scientific advancements, in case of your technological developments, in case of expanding your knowledge, in case of making yourself efficient in communication skills, you all have to apply. Just sitting quietly, having lots of knowledge will not help you stand professionally in this fast-paced global professional market. If you have to attain, if you have to match to the needs of the society, you are going to apply your skills and show everyone in your presentation that I have this knowledge, I can do it, I know this, I can understand this, I can give some explanation on this particular element, or I can suggest some more important things, some more elements to the particular thing happening. So, not only when it comes to any reading skill, writing skill, listening skill, or any kind of subject, always it will be valued only when you apply it. It's not important to gather lots of words in your vocabulary. It is important to use in your day-to-day life to improve your communication skills. Being quiet will not improve your communication skills. Of course, you have lot of knowledge. You have good suggestions. You have good experimental skills. But who will understand until unless you explain? So, applying what you have learned is the very important thing which you all have to remember, not only in case of your communication skills, but also in case of all your technical skills. You all have to understand that you have to apply what you have learned. Show the world that you are capable of making new inventions, or you are capable of making more innovative ideas. So, to make you yourself stand in very active professional life skill development, this intensive reading technical skills will surely help you only when you apply what you have learned. All these methods you are going to apply to learn the intensive reading skill. Next, examples of intensive reading. Let us see some examples. Articles or editorials in magazines. You can do intensive reading in this. Then, economic and political weeklies. Of course, we need to know what are the things going around us, what are the things happening, what are the current affairs happening in and around our society. So, these are also you can do intensive reading. Then, blog post on various topics. Social media platform is really helping in one way or the other. It will surely help you in making you understand or giving you much information about many things. But grasping the true information, taking the true information, using the true method is your choice. You must be able to segregate that bad information with the good information and understand what is important and what is not important to you. That can happen only when you do your reading intensively. Whether it is a small paragraph, whether it is a 2 lines statement, you must do it intensively. Many statements are passed in our assembly. Did we ever think of them intensively? Did we really try to understand what they are speaking? If they are speaking something, did they really implement it? This is what is intensive thinking skill. This is what is intensive reading. That is what has to be developed. Don't stop at a pace. If you are going in the way of research, intensive reading will surely help you and make you brighter in all the aspects of your research. Next, short stories or poetries are also one of the example. Then business reports. Then analyzing statistical data. That means there will be many statistical data which will be given in the news channels or in the articles. So when you try to analyze, when you try to understand them in detail, you will go into depths of it. How? Why does this happen like this? What is this statistical data? Why is this statistical data is lesser than the other data? Why comparatively from 2019, the 2020 data is less? Why? When you're comparing, when you're trying to understand some difference between the data which is given to you, you will think intensively and you will have lots of questions about it and you will try to explore the ways to answer those questions which you have got in your brain. So these are all the ways which will help you in developing your intensive reading skills. Now, extensive reading. Extensive reading is nothing but when you are not confining yourself to particular place. When you are trying out to move out from that place and try to explore more ways to gather the same information is your extensive reading skills. It is a type of reading where you engage with different types of reading material. That is, you're not making yourself sticking towards only your academic books. You are trying to read fiction, you're trying to read non-fiction, you're trying to read work-related documents, you're trying to read newspapers and articles and even any kind of statistical data. That means moving out of the box, moving out of your academics when you are trying to understand and read the elements of other entities in the form of newspapers, articles, journals, stories, poem, abroad, thinking more broader, not confining yourself in narrow pace. So, when you are thinking broader than whatever it is needed, and when you are thinking to grasp information from all kinds of elements to make your knowledge more wider, that is your extensive reading. With extensive reading, you can skim large amounts of text. Now again, here the word skim. Extensive reading will not suggest you to do intensive reading into it. No, you can read many elements just through skimming. That is, you will read the gist of the story. Don't read bundles of books or files or projects. No, take a project, try to understand what is its usage, what is its importance, try to grasp the main points from it and gather the information. It helps you in saving your time and also giving you broader sense of the things. This is your extensive reading. Next, what is the meaning of extensive reading? Is widely but not necessarily focusing on only one text. That means here we are not focusing on any one element or any one type of text. It is wider. You can go beyond your needs and explore the things around you, explore the vocabulary which is mentioned in all the books, explore new variety of accents, explore new variety of intonation skills. All those things can be developed through the extensive reading skill. Then it can be used for beginner level language. That means those who are not interested, those who have just started to read, you can do this. First start with the storybook. Then read something else. Read a newspaper article. Then go for a journal, editorial. Choose your way. You don't stick to only I'm going to read only this textbook. In that I'm only going to read only my syllabus. If you are doing that, you will have bored. You will become bored, isn't it? So, if you want to make yourself attentive, active, you have to read in a wider pace. Go out of the box. Read something new. Try to understand the things around you in a new way. Isn't it? So, if there is a information in your books, try to understand it from other point of view also. Try to explore some other books which are also present in the online sessions. You can download so many books through online. Now, it is very, very easy, isn't it? So, you can go and do extensive reading of the content, whatever is needed for your syllabus. You will get a general understanding of the text and improve your language skills. This is the most important thing which will happen through extensive reading. Your language skills, particularly your writing skills, reading skills, and also speaking skills will be improved through extensive reading. When you do extensive reading, you will know the way the writer has written. The same writer will be writing in one tone in one book and the other tone in the other book. What is the difference of that tone? Why the tone has differed from situation to situation? You will be able to understand, and you will be able to understand where to use when you speak it. Okay, when there is a sad moment, you cannot go and happily say hello, hi. No, that is wrong. You should know where to talk, in which modulation, isn't it? When it is sad pace, you have to do it in a sad tone. When it is a cheerful mode, you have to talk in a cheerful note. So, this modulation, this kind of change in your language can happen through the extensive reading of books. That means they help you in making yourself understand the different time, place and the situation thing where you are going to apply your speaking properly and effectively when you are doing your job. So, therefore, in this way, extensive reading will help you in developing your language skills. Next, it will help you polish your reading quickly. What is polishing it? You all polish your shoes every day, isn't it? What will happen when you polish your shoes? They look very sharp, very appealable, very beautiful, isn't it? In the same way, extensive reading will help you in polishing your language. It will help you in making your language in effectively in the communication skills. When you talk, you will be talking not just as if you're reading. You're talking according to the situation of that time, whatever it is given to you. So, try to read different kind of text. Poetry will be in one kind of tone. Drama is told in other kind of tone. Fiction is read in other kind of tone. Articles are read on the serious note, isn't it? The same way, whenever you talk, you have to see that your language modulation, your language accent matches the situation. And the other person, whoever is responding to you or speaking to you, will understand the situation through your language modulation. That is what is very, very important in developing your communication skill. When there is a sad note, you cannot smile and say, ha ha ha, I am very sad. What will the other person understand about it? Isn't it? So, the extensive reading skills will help you in knowing the right way of speaking and also analyzing the things with understanding and giving you lot of knowledge about the situation, and also helps you in making your language skills very efficient. So, these are the very, very important things which are helpful to you when you are reading extensive language readings, when you are doing extensive reading. Now, what are the three elements, three examples of extensive reading? Newspapers, blogs, e-magazines. Of course, newspapers provide us with lots of information, and blogs gives you a knowledge about different kinds of perspectives of people of different states or different professionals, anything, but you will understand different perspectives, different ideas, different thoughts through blogs. Next, e-magazines. These are the very, very important magazines which will expand your knowledge not only in terms of your technicalities or scientific developments or any other things. They'll be giving you loads of exposure to the world. Next, develop an interest in reading. Improves reading comprehension. Read widely, improves vocabulary. Now, these are the 4 advantages of extensive reading. What are the 4 advantages? It develops an interest in reading. If you start reading a story, then you feel like reading the other story. Then after reading the other story, you will feel like reading one more story. So, it helps you in developing your interest in reading. Then, improves reading comprehension. What is comprehension? It is understanding. From day 1 to day 10, there will be surely lot of difference in the way of your understanding when you start reading. So, reading comprehension will be developed through extensive reading. Next comes read widely. You are not restricting yourself to some particular entity. You are going to read on a very, very huge note in a very, very broader sense. Next, improves your vocabulary, which is the very, very important element in your communication base. So, your vocabulary improvement and how to use that vocabulary. How is that you are going to use those new words in the way of your communication? If you are using those words, are you using properly, correctly, in the right time and in the right situation? All these things will be very helpful to you when you do extensive reading. Next, extensive versus intensive reading. Now we will talk about the differences. What are the major differences you can see in the extensive and the intensive reading? Point 1. What is the meaning of extensive reading? It is an approach to language learning in which long text and a large amount of material are read. That means in extensive reading, we are going to read large amount of books and get exposure to lot of content. But while it comes to intensive reading, it is a reading method. It will not make itself confined to larger amounts. It will talk about the short text carefully, deeply, and so as to gain maximum understanding. Intensive reading focuses on reading the short text but deeply analyzing and understanding the content, whatever is needed. So, extensive reading, we do broader reading, but we are not going into the depths of the reading. But when it comes to intensive reading, though we are reading a short text, we are going in deeper details of that content. Next, what is the nature of extensive reading? It is supplementary. That means it is not much focused, not much in the depths. It is on the superficial level. It is supplementary. But when it comes to intensive, it is comprehensive. It is into the depths of understanding element. This is the nature of the intensive reading. Next is purpose. When do we do extensive reading or when do we do intensive reading? What is the purpose? Here, for acquiring information for pleasure. We do extensive reading for pleasure or to acquire more information about whatever we are interested in. So here we are not intuitively going into the deep layers of the content, doing that, doing this. No, we are reading long text, but maybe it is for our own pleasure or maybe I am trying to gather more information of something which I am more interested in. That is what is the purpose of extensive reading. But what is intensive reading? For understanding literal meaning, that means the true meaning, the particular meaning of that particular text. You are going in the deeper roots of the understanding of the text literally, word by word, sentence by sentence. So, that is the purpose of your intensive reading. Next is covers. What does the extensive reading covers? It covers novels, magazines and the newspapers. Now, here we talk about the textbooks, isn't it? We read our academic textbooks intensively only before the examinations, isn't it? We do that. We try to put our complete head into the textbooks and do the intensive reading just before the examination. No, do it from the day one when you join in the course. That will really help you in developing lot of knowledge about the content, whatever is required to develop your technical skills as well as the professional skills. Next, material session. Reading material is selected by the individual himself. That means if I am interested in certain topic, I am going to select my topic. No one else will select my topic for extensive reading. And I am not going to read somebody's interest. I am going to read extensively on the way I am interested in. That is what is your extensive reading. Now, what is intensive? It is decided and recommended by the teachers. So, all your textbooks are decided and recommended by the teachers or the educational authorities or the committees of the schools or the curriculum which is demanded for your education. Next, it involves a number of books on the similar concept. So, extensive reading help us to read number of books on the same content. That means to gain wider knowledge, we are going to read more number of books on similar concept. But when it comes to intensive reading, we are going to read again and again the same text to know the deeper meaning of the text. Here you are not reading so many books. Here you are reading only one book with one particular content. But you are trying to read it again and again and gain lot of information from the same. Now, usage of dictionary. In extensive reading, we do not use dictionary. We just try to read it for the sake of relaxation on our own interest. I want to develop my interest of reading by reading the stories, reading poems. Here I am not holding my dictionary in my hand because I am doing extensive reading. I am not going on reading the same text or to gain some information. Here my criteria is to have relaxation and to get recreation through the books. So therefore, I am not using the dictionary in the extensive reading. But when it comes to intensive reading, of course, I am going to use the dictionary because I want to know the meaning of each and every word and also its understanding. Therefore, I use my dictionary when it comes to intensive reading. Then comes helpful in. Then how extensive reading is helping you is that it develops your reading fluency. The more you read, the more you will become fluent in language. So, extensive reading helps you in developing your fluency, while intensive reading helps you in developing your vocabulary, developing the grammatical knowledge. Why vocabulary? Because we will read into the depths of the detailed meaning of that particular word, and as well as we will give lot of concentration to understand the structure of the sentences. Therefore, intensive reading helps you in developing your vocabulary and also your grammatical knowledge. Yes, in a nutshell, I just want to conclude saying that all the skills, all the reading techniques which are very, very helpful in developing your communication skills must be practiced. Skimming, scanning, intensive reading or the extensive reading, all these things will surely help you in developing and also enhancing effective language skills which will help you in your professional life. So, I suggest read at least for 5 minutes a day. Do vast reading. You can also read some storybooks or you can do extensive reading of the things, of the content, whichever you are interested in, and develop the knowledge. So, depends on the situation. Choose the technique of your reading and get excelled with your communication skills. Thank you.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.